Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Around the Table. Welcome to another episode of Around the Table. We got a good one for you today, y'all. We got a good one for you today. We're gonna kick this thing off, and I got the heavy hitter with me. I got the heavy hitter. We're gonna go in and we're gonna talk about some stuff and what we're gonna talk about today is the black man's truth. The black man's truth. What is the black man's truth here in America? There's so many different things, and we've been up and against so much. In our history of being here in this country that they call America. They say it's the United States of America, but are they really united? And does that unity include the black man here in America? I got this brother with me. I'm I'm high and a happy elephant and lady and porcupine proud that he's going to be with us this morning. I'm gonna let him. I can introduce to myself, but it won't do no justice. Brother, tell everybody who you are and where you're hailing from.
My name, thank you so much for having me on, dear brother. My name is Captain Dennis Muhammad. I'm the founder and CEO of the Peacekeepers Global Initiative.
Good deal, good deal. And tell everybody before we get into it, tell them a little bit about the Peacekeepers so they'll know exactly what it is for the people that may not know.
Well, the Peacekeepers is an initiative where we ask people in their respective community to volunteer to become peacekeepers and go out in the community to fight the influx and the increase of drugs and gun violence. We train the peacekeepers, men and women who are civilians, who love their community, who want to eradicate the gun violence in their community, to become a peacekeeper and go through a training that would allow them to patrol their neighborhood and make their community a safe and decent place to live.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I know it's a huge it's a huge task because there's so much going on in and around the community, and that takes us right back to what we're talking about right now: the black man's truth. Muhammad, what is the black man's truth here in America?
Well, that's
I know
that is most certainly a heavy question. What is the black man's truth? Well, let's turn it around. What is the truth of the black man? And if we deal with what is the truth of the black man, I'm a member of the Nation of Islam. And I joined the Nation of Islam over 48 years ago. I was 18 years old. And when I joined the Nation of Islam, there was a question that was asked. And that question was by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is the original man? Well, I didn't know, 18 years old, young, and I didn't know Black history. I was a thug running the streets. I didn't finish high school. So they asked me.
Okay, we have some issues with
Who is the original?
There we go.
Yeah, they asked me the question, who is the original man? I didn't have the answer. So the answer was, the original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. Now that was a heavy answer. The original man is the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization. So I've never looked at us as the original people. But when Mr. Muhammad started teaching us that we are the original people of the planet, and that no other race came on the planet but through us, I began to look into that. And I found it to be the truth. That is the black man's truth. We the first. And the scripture said we the Alpha and Omega.
Come on.
And the reality is there will be no other race on the planet if they did not come through us. So the truth of the black man is that we are the original people of God. And that's the truth as I understand it.
Now, a lot of people, when you say that, a lot of people would take offense to that. They would say that if that be the case, why are we in such a situation? And we have a caller. We're going to go to the call in just 1 second. They would say, why are we in such a situation that we're in today, if that be true? How would you answer that question, Mom?
Well, I just did a post about an hour ago. And in that post, I said, family, don't forget that the new norm, as they're talking about as things are not going back to normal, that we will never see normal. That's the word, because of this coronavirus. We will never see normal again. So we would have a new normal. I said a new normal for Black people is that we don't go back to abnormal. See, the reality is we have never lived normal.
Come on.
And we have never lived normal because we have been living a way of life that is contrary to God. And so the normal life is God. So we have a lesson that says we have been living other than ourselves. Well, what you mean we've been living other than ourselves? We have not been living the lifestyle in the culture prior to us coming over in slavery.
Yes, sir.
We have lived a foreigner's lifestyle, and we have took on a foreigner's culture. So therefore, people may argue with that, but that's the truth.
Yes, sir.
So therefore, we need to find out what is our own self. If we've been living other than ourselves, if we've been living abnormal, then what is normal? Well, normal is God's way of life. Well, the question is, have there ever been a time on the planet that we did live normal? That's the question.
Good deal. Good deal. And see, there's so many different layers. There's so many different layers tied into what we're saying right now, and the truth that we're going to get to. But why is it every time there's something, they got this whatever they call it, this corona situation going on right now? Now they're saying you need to do this, you need to do that. But at the end of the day, who do you think, Muhammad, is going to be the one that's going to suffer the most? And what has history told you of the ones that's going to suffer the most through this whole corona situation?
Well, you know, we have the right as a people. I'm talking about Black people. We have the right to be paranoid. If we was to see this coronavirus that seemed for some particular reason have took on the increase of killing African Americans for some reason, it's taking us out the game, then we have to, and wait a minute, and then they say to us, the reason why we are dying more, Black people, with the coronavirus is because our health issues and our lifestyle. This is what they tell us.
Yeah.
And some of us bought into it because we know we have high blood pressure. All right. We know we have diabetes. All right. We know we have heart problems, asthma. A lot of us know we have these issues, but these issues or health issues that we have, scientists, doctors, and scholars said it is contribute to the poor quality of lifestyle that we Black folks live in the hood.
Come on.
So if this be the case, and we have a history, now look at this, that's why I talk about we have a right to be paranoid. Well, the first reason we should be paranoid is that over 400 something years ago, we was brought over here against our own will and made slaves, all right? Number one. So you can't trust the very people that brought us over here, and their intentions was never to make us citizens. Their intentions was never to free us. That was never their intentions to free us.
Yes, absolutely.
The only reason why we got so-called free is because it presented a dilemma between the North and the South. And so Abraham Lincoln knew that there was a division and that the South had the power of the slaves and they had the economic power. So in order to break the South, he had to eradicate slavery. He didn't free the slave, he emancipated the slave, which Black people need to understand what emancipation means. Okay. The second piece is that you have to remember that during the Second World War or the First World War, they injected Black men in Tuskegee, Alabama with syphilis. There's a movie called Mrs. Something Boys, I forgot her name, but with syphilis. Knowing they had the antidote and the cure for syphilis, but they wanted to see what syphilis would do if you left it alone. How far, what it would act like when it gets to its apex. So they allowed these soldiers who served in the war to go home and cohabit with their wives and their family with syphilis and see what it would do as it runs through the black community. So that's a true history. That ain't no makeup. All right. That was an experiment.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you remember Black Wall Street.
Come on.
Right? Over 300 black people. The first bomb that was ever dropped on American soil was Tuscaloosa, Oklahoma. Under when we had all of the black businesses, we had our own schools, we had our own stores, we had our own. But that was not something they wanted to see, black people. So they dropped a bomb on us, right? Then we had come up the road a little bit, and we went to the Vietnam War, right?
Come on.
And remember the Agent Orange?
Yes, sir.
They dropped the chemicals, and many of the brothers came back, man, with that disease, skin disease. And then if that wasn't bad enough, then all of a sudden they came and they gave us AIDS. AIDS started off as a gay disease. Remember that, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
It started off, it was a gay disease, right?
It was.
And then now all of a sudden, AIDS is taking more black people out the game. Then that ain't all. Then they flood our community with crack. How do you think crack got into our community? It came in under Bush.
Come on.
And that devastated us. And then after the crack epidemic, and then look here, then we started, and I forgot to talk about the civil rights. The lynching that we had to endure under Bull Connor, Governor Wallace. What was the other dude's name? The racist
Strom Thurmond.
Yeah. And we had to fight, man, and we lost the great Martin Dr. King fighting for civil rights, and our bodies swung. And so Billie Holiday talked about and sung a song called Strange Fruit.
Yes, sir.
Swinging from the trees, hanging. Then we came up now to all of our young men are being shot down in the street by racist cops. And nobody we fighting with about talking about Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and we go on and on and on and on.
Exactly.
And if that wasn't bad, then they put in our community heroin.
Come on.
Not just any kind of heroin, lethal heroin with fentanyl in it. That was causing us to OD and the alarming rate. So if we believe that this virus can be genetically modified, if we believe that this virus had one purpose or had a purpose, and that was to eliminate a people that may have been deemed by somebody as a burden and useless. And if we go back to my man, Henry Kissinger, under Nixon, who talked about depopulation, that is more easy to kill 1 million people than to feed 1 million people. Then who are you trying to eliminate?
Come on.
So maybe, I'm not saying it is, but if I'm paranoid to think that, if I line up with conspiracy theorists, don't get mad at me. We got a very good doggone reason to be paranoid.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, you said something about freedom. So let's talk about this free to be dumb here in America. Let's talk about this free to be dumb, because that's what it is. You're free to be dumb and not know and recognize or understand, or they don't want you to know and recognize or understand what's being done or what they're trying to do to you. So let's talk about that freedom.
Well, you know, clearly, Jesus said it better in the Bible. You shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free.
Yes, sir.
Well, what is the truth? Have everybody who have been after our head been honest with us? Have the American government been honest with us? The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said, if a people would not treat you right, do you think they would teach you right?
Come on.
Black people, whether they want to admit it or not, and I know there's a few, there's always a few Negroes out there that want to defend it. But you have to be honest. It has always been white folks' fear. They've always been afraid of us. Their fear is what we do to them, what they have done to us if we got in the position of power. Well, our great brother, Barack Obama, proved that theory to be wrong, because under Barack Obama's administration, white folks got more out of him than we did. So we couldn't use that one. But the point made is this: we have to begin to understand you're not going to get the truth on CNN because the man who's lying so much, he have torn down the credibility of news. He have torn down the credibility of anything coming out the White House, which is lies. So we are now a people that can never be free if we don't never know the truth. If I was to tell you, dear brother, I said, look here, brother Raheem, the truth is, brother, if you ever want to be able to do something for yourself, you have to untie yourself to that slave job. Now, I know the job is an income, but the truth is, this is the truth that will set you free. You got to do something for yourself. Now, that's the truth. Now, if you accept that, then you're free.
What is it? And I want to hear your whole heart on this. But what is it about us that fears them so much?
Well, listen. You fear it. The greatest fear of any master who had mistreated his slave, the greatest fear of any master that mistreated his slave, is that one day the slave would rise up against the abusive master. Their fear is they know what they've done to us. Their fear is when we wake up, that's their fear. The lion that's asleep, he is no danger. But Lord, don't let that lion wake up.
Come on.
We're a sleeping lion. And as long as we are asleep, it's like I remember the volcano, Mount St. Helen. And this was in 1980 or 1982, I think it was 1980, when Mount St. Helen blew its top. Now, this was a volcano, right? Oh, man, it was a sleeping volcano. And in this volcano being a sleeping volcano, you begin to start seeing people start building around it. White folks start living around it. Oh, it was a beautiful place. And then one day that volcano rumbled. Sorry, we heard it rumble before. Another day, smoke came out of it. So now those who studied the seismologists who understood the activity meant something, they start warning the people. I'd never forget, remember, they interviewed this old white man who said, I ain't going nowhere. I've been living here all my life. This thing ain't going to do nothing. And in 1980, Mount St. Helen blew its top. It was on the same level of a nuclear bomb. And you can't find nowhere where that white man used to live. For the landscape has been revamped, reshaped. That's us, man. A sleeping volcano. You've done all you want to us. You build around us. You've used us to make your whole country what it is today. But lo and behold, you see a little trembling. You see a little smoke coming out the hood. And your greatest fear is that one day that we will blow our top or lose our mind. And then once that happened, my God, this is the greatest fear. They're talking about race riots. Every time you look around, we burn down our own neighborhood, so they don't fear that.
Yeah.
But they fear the day when we recognize that it ain't our neighborhood we gonna burn down no more, and really it ain't our neighborhood. Because the business that we burn out in our neighborhood is not our businesses.
Exactly.
But nevertheless, the fear, there's nothing more afraid than an intelligent, wise, smart black man. We had that in Malcolm. We have that in Minister Farrakhan, and we had that in Dr. King, and we had that in Nelson Mandela.
Yes, sir.
These are the men they feared. And look at what Nelson Mandela did. He did not come and did to his tormentors what they did to him, because the nature of Black people is a loving and forgiving nature. That's how you know we the people of God.
Good deal. Now, how disheartening is it to you, Muhammad? How disheartening is it to you that they know who we are more than we know who we are? How disheartening is that? And is that reality?
Yeah, that's reality. You get a child and you adopt it when he's a baby, and you raise them like your own. At one time, one day, that child grow up, and that child notice it don't look like the parents that raised them, but the parents had kept it hidden and quiet that he's an adopted child. After a while, that child becomes curious. And when he becomes curious to see that there's a little difference in how I look and how y'all look, then he gets wise enough to start questioning them. And then eventually, sometimes they tell him the truth. But once they tell him the truth, he's been adopted or she's been adopted. It is human nature for that child to seek its original parents. They're not going to stop until they find out who's my mama then, who's my daddy then, and why did they put me up for that? That would be a burning desire in that human being until that desire or that thirst is quenched by an answer. Well, that's us, brother. You brought us over here, and we don't have no connection to the motherland. We don't even know what tribe we came from. We don't even know what part of Africa that has over 250 countries. We don't know where we came from. So we are lost. We have no clue of who we are and what we are. We don't know our names. We don't know our religion. We don't know our culture. We don't speak our language. So we are people that is absent completely of who we are and what we are. So we have adapted our foster father, our foster parents, attitude, ways, norms. We have adapted to that. And not even some of us have a desire to even go back to the motherland and get a chance to see what it looked like, where we come from. I thank God I've been to Africa 3 times, and I can't see none of us who coming from Africa, and we don't desire to go back to our homeland.
What do you say to the people that say, well, I wasn't born in Africa. I was born in Chicago. I was born in Texas. I was born in Atlanta. I was born in Ohio. I was born in California. I have no ties to Africa. So why would I go back to Africa? Muhammad, what do you say to them?
Well, that's a human being who really lack the knowledge of themselves.
Yep.
And I feel sorry for anyone who have that kind of attitude, because there's not a Jewish person in America whose great desire not to go back, not to go to Israel. Every Jewish person seeks who they are and what they are. To not to know who you are is not to have the power of the unity of your own people. And that's why you can come in our community and do anything you want to us, and we don't take and do nothing in return. You can come and disrespect our women, and we do it too, and we won't do nothing. You can come in and economically suck all of our dollars out of our community and give us nothing but inferior goods and and we don't do nothing. So it's that kind of attitude that keeps us divided, because that means all you're concerned about is yourself. And it's a sad thing, because most of them think they're Americans. But I'm an American. See? Well, okay. What make you American? Let's look at the definition of an American. And according to Webster, the definition of America says one who has and received the full rights of first-class citizenship. Well, that knocked us out the box right there.
Yeah.
Because we have never been seen as first-class citizens. So
Exactly.
if that's the definition of an American, then I'm sorry. Then
Mm-hmm.
you're not American. And
Exactly.
let me say what Malcolm said.
Mm-hmm.
A cat can have kittens in the oven, but that don't make them biscuits. So because you was born in America, that
Mm-hmm.
don't mean you're an American.
Exactly. Exactly. Let's talk about civil rights and then transition over to human rights. And what is the difference?
Well, listen, Malcolm made a very good point as he was trying to take the case of the plight of black people to the United Nations. You can never receive human rights, civil rights, if they never see you as a human.
Mm.
The very fact, if they don't see you as a human, then why would they be civil to you? No one is civil. No one is civil to a beast.
Mm-hmm.
You don't be civil to a beast. You don't go in a jungle and get with a lion and be civil with him
Mm-hmm.
because the beast is not civil. So you treat a beast like a beast. How can you be civil to a people that you have enslaved and had us in servitude slavery? Look here, physical bondage for 379 years.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that again. I want that this because they don't teach that in Black history because they don't teach Black history. We
Mm-hmm.
were slaves here in America for 379 years. How you gonna be civil with a slave that you don't even see as a human being? How
Mm-hmm.
you gonna be civil with a slave when you call him 3/4 of a human being? How
Mm-hmm.
you gonna be civil with a black man when you give more respect and honor and rights to a dog
Come on. Come on.
than you do a black man and woman? So
Mm-hmm.
no, we should never seek civil rights. We should seek human rights.
And how do you think? How do you think we here on these soils would obtain these human rights?
Well, listen, there's an old saying that it's not what somebody call you, it's what you answer to.
Yes, sir.
We have to stop seeking their approval. We need to just recognize that we have had a good run with white people. We have recognized we in the divorce court. We have tried everything to go along and get along with them. There are some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful white people. God knows I'm not going to cast every white person in that lump.
Mm-hmm.
I have some wonderful, wonderful friends that I love them dearly. This is the truth. Who have
Yes.
shown me mad love. So I'm not don't take me to say that. But I'm saying we're talking about a system, systematic racism, a system that have shown its head in every turn, even under the most difficult times when you think that all of us is equal because this virus seemed to be killing everybody. White folks is locked in the house, black folks is locked in the house. But even with Donald Trump trying to put back the economy or put money back into the economy by taking the burden off of those who are affected by the economy, so they give $350 billion to what they call small businesses. They
Mm-hmm.
just printed today when they gave it to Ruth Chris the Steakhouse. They made $480 million annually. How do you give $20 million to Ruth Chris, which is not a small business? And
Mm.
I can tell you a lot of black business. I don't even know. I used to eat at Sylvia's
Yes.
in Harlem, New York. That's a
Mm-hmm.
black business.
Yes, sir.
I don't even know if they got any money. They may not. But the bottom line is right now, it's still uneven when it comes to us,
Mm-hmm.
the little man.
Yes, sir.
So we have to begin to understand, dear brother, in order for us to begin to be recognized as humans or begin to recognize our human rights, we have to realize to ourselves, we have to believe in ourselves. And if we don't believe, Brother Raheem, in us, then who's going to believe in us? If we don't believe Black Lives Matter, then how could we push Black Lives Matter down somebody else's throat? So I'm not going to act like that we ain't got a lot of work on doing on ourselves. We have to work very hard, believe me, on us as a people, and stop making white folks the excuse. I'm not making them an excuse. The excuse is we allow people to take advantage of us. I'm not mad if somebody see an opportunity to come in the Black community and open up a business and take all the revenue out that community and support their own because we don't do nothing for ourselves. I'm not mad if somebody take advantage of the opportunity. But what I am upset about, how we continue to allow people to come in our community and take advantage of us. And that's only due to, Brother Raheem, self-hatred.
Yes, sir.
Self-hatred is a worse disease, a worse virus than corona. Corona is called the novel virus. Novel means new. Self-hatred is old with us. We have had this virus of self-hatred in us since we came here. And we got to learn, man, how to eradicate in us that deadly virus that would cause brother to kill brother. That deadly virus that would get in the way of another Black man trying to succeed, the crabs in the barrel system, that deadly virus that would allow us, man, to support people who don't look like us before we support ourselves. That deadly virus.
Come on.
That would allow me to shoot my brother down with no regard for his life. That deadly virus called self-hatred, that even we'll get on here, and I don't like that dude, Captain Dennis Muhammad, because he's a Muslim. Self-hatred. I don't like brother because he's a Christian. Self-hatred. I don't like him because he's Black. This Negro's light-skinned. I don't like him because he got a beard. I don't like him because he got a New York Yankees hair. I don't like him. See, self-hatred.
Yes, sir.
Don't know me from a can of paint, and already don't like me because I done made my statement what I believe.
Exactly. Exactly. Now, how do we educate our young men out there so they don't see each other as enemies and they don't see them like a video game where you can just pull the trigger and they fall and hit the reset button?
We have a great job, and until we build our own educational institutions, we will always be at the hands of our enemy. It's good to have chartered schools. But what good is charter schools and you got a white curriculum? Really?
Come on.
We have to get in our communities, in every neighborhood, in every city, what I call cultural centers. We have to have cultural development centers. We have to be able to cultivate our people and give them a training that would allow them to know who they are. We have to give them a training that would allow them to get history, true history, not his story, but true history. We have to give them a training that would teach these young men the respect of women, the respect of their elders. We have to give them a training that would teach them who they are, that they ain't niggas, they ain't coons.
Yeah.
We have to give them. So we call these centers cultural refinement centers. And these centers is not recreation centers. We don't need no recreation centers. We don't need no more parks. We need cultural refinement centers. Teach our young people cultural refinement. Teach them the adequacy of how to sit at a table. Show them how to set a table. Show them how to walk, talk. Give them the necessary training, manhood training. Teach them the life skills training. And give them financial literacy training. And then teach them how to be men, young men, by showing them the do's and the don'ts. If we got to do this. So we need to open up in every city what I call cultural refinement centers.
Yes, sir.
And you know, Brother Raheem, I was doing barbershop, barbershop tour.
Yes, sir.
I had did over 600 barbershops around the country and doing barbershop talks. And in these barbershop talks, that was where we began to lay the base of talking to these young men, because these young men is not in the church. These young men is not in the mosque. Where can you find a young man at? On the corner and in the barbershop.
Exactly.
So there's the old saying, if the mountain don't go to Muhammad, Muhammad got to go to the mountain. So we gone into the barbershops, which seems to be neutral territory. The barbershop is like the United Nations. It's a sovereign, independent institution. And it allows people to speak freely about what they believe and not be judged. It is the only place where you can find the kind of dialogue that builds. If we get away from talking about the sports and get away and start talking about the things that are relevant in the community, then the barbershop becomes like the church used to be. The church used to be the place, as you know, Brother Raheem, the church used to be the place that we organized. It was the church where we galvanized. It was the church that we got consciousness from. It was the church that we mobilized the civil rights from. The church was a place of cultural refinement. And I don't know what happened. I think when they gave that FBI, when the FBI entered into the game, that faith-based initiative money, that FBI, that faith-based initiative money, then they took away the independence of the church. And now they begin to be focusing more on mega church. And now look with this coronavirus, and nobody's going to the church, nobody going to the mosque. Now we going back to the reality that we ain't got nobody to look after us but us.
Exactly. We have a caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Greetings, sir. Peace and blessings be unto you. This is Jamie Eatman, and I am on the rise.
Jamie, hey, good deal, Jamie. How you doing today, man? We're talking about the black man's truth. We're talking about the black man's truth, brother. What's on your heart?
Yeah, I haven't heard much of what's being said there, but just reading that title, Raheem, it would imply that black man's truth, one of them. Why don't we just deal with the truth?
Okay, Jim, you're breaking up on me a little bit, brother. You're breaking up on me just a little bit.
I was saying that I noticed the title, The Black Man's Truth. When it comes down to truth, we need to deal with truth as truth, because truth is universal. A lie is not. So when we put something in front of black man's truth, it actually, for individuals that need to hear and accept, causes some to become biased. It's almost like if you put up something that says the Klansman's truth. It might very well be the truth, but some of it may not. So somehow you want people to hear. But I like what is being said here in the discussion. Hopefully that won't distract too many people from where we're trying to go, or where I pray you all are trying to go with it.
Good deal. Muhammad, what's on your heart about what Jamie just said?
Well, I agree with brother. And remember what we said. We said, I flipped it. You said the black man's truth. Remember, I flipped it?
Yes, sir.
I flipped it to the truth of the black man.
Yes, sir.
And I went there. But he's absolutely right. None of us own truth. Truth is independent of all of us. No question about that. But what I would like to say is that there is nothing but one truth. And that truth is who are the original people that truth, not only, in other words, what is the truth about what we are talking about? Because we are talking about black people in particular. I'm sorry, I thought this conversation is relative to us. I'm the kind of person, I can't keep worrying about how somebody else take it. Jump on, get with it, and that's it. If people have a problem every time we got to talk black people, we got to substantiate and do a little addendum. Well, we want to make it clear we're not talking about white people. I get tired of that. I really do, because I know people know that black folks is in a hell of a condition, and we need to start focusing more on ourselves and let the chips fall where they fall. If people get offended, listen, man, we're not in that conversation. I don't know if they've seen this video where these two white people in the bathroom and they're going to say how to make a nigga. And I don't know if you've seen it. And they got these little cups, right? And they got the color black and they got crap on, they put crap in there. And I mean, it's so disrespectful. But this is how people view us. But if we spend our time addressing how people see us, then we ain't gonna never go nowhere. My focus is let's deal with us. And if anybody else become offended, let's do that. Let's get that out the way. We sorry, family. We don't mean to offend nobody. So don't take it personally. Now, let's get back to the business at hand.
Good deal. Good deal. Jamie, anything? Go ahead. Go ahead, Jamie.
Ryan, let me comment on that. You know, and my brother is correct. But one of the things we need to realize is when we start putting the word black out there are black people that don't want to hear the black issue. It needs to be presented as truth and something that they can relate to. If people see us as only waving a black banner, there are people that's going to dismiss that because there are people that have gotten ahead that are black that don't want to hear the black thing. They don't even return to their black neighborhoods. When we start talking truth, people will get behind that. Even the Nation of Islam flag, freedom, justice, equality in Islam. Truth is so significant to the foundation of anything that's going to be successful. People can argue you down concerning almost anything except for the truth. If a man is going to acknowledge the truth, then you have his ear because he's not going to argue with truth. At that point, you need to leave him alone because that's ignorance. Ignorance is the only thing that will argue with truth. And it's not black or white, because that would make us look ignorant just if we just argue something just for the sake of it being black or white. I like what Dr. King and Malcolm X both did. Malcolm ended up on a United Nation level. It wasn't just about blacks here in the United States. It was about a truth. Martin Luther King rose above black people to the point of freedom and justice. When we get on the right issues and we have the right conversation, we're going to pull the right people. And those who don't come on those right issues, you know, we can work, that becomes a real battle again. We can work on them and trying to get them. But if we're moving ahead, we got to be armed with the right purpose. We got to be armed with the right conversation, because people look for reasons to dismiss you. People can't dismiss truth as readily as they can your thoughts or your views based on your race or your background.
Okay. You said what it is. I was going to, you actually put my answer to what you were saying in what you just said, because, and that is this, there's going to be some that's not going to want to get on board with this, that's not going to want to do the things that we need to do to make this difference and to make this change. We can't, those are not the ones we're aiming for. You know, like in the Marine says, no man left behind. But at the same time, you can't bring you don't want to bring extra weight, extra baggage that's going to stop you from getting to your destination or prolong the trip for you getting to the destination where you're trying to get to. And that's what the people that are not on board with you, that don't care about the black agenda, that don't care about the black people, that's what they're going to do. They're going to be on the back of the wagon, dragging their feet, making it harder for the mule to pull the baggage. And that's not what we're talking about. Muhammad, what's on your heart?
I like what brother said, and I'm not going to disagree with what he said. That's for those kind of leaders who want to articulate the truth in a way to make the most ignorant of them to understand. And I like that. That's the love you have for your own kind. And sometimes the naked truth is sometimes hard to digest. Well, I think I have been with Minister Farrakhan for over 43 years. I don't know a leader more articulate than Minister Farrakhan. And if Minister Farrakhan had used his great ability to articulate the truth, and you see what we have done over the 45 years that he has stood up in the absence of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, look at the condition of black people now. Look at the Million Man March. Look at the Million Family March, the Million Mile Movement, justice or else. So there come a time that a man, the scripture says, I've piped unto you and you have not danced. I've mourned and you have not lamented. Well, there come a time, see, God, there's nowhere in the scripture where God saved everybody. We're not going to get everybody to agree. That's the only thing about religion. Religion is controversial. Sports is controversial. Politics is controversial. Anything that is controversial is of conflict, and conflict is the absence of peace. So I don't like to talk religion because it gets this thing here. Truth is controversial because you can sit here and argue with me, and you can say, my mama taught me that 2 and 5 is 7. And I said, my mama taught me 6 and 1 is 7. And somebody said, my daddy taught me 3 and 4 is 7. See, both of all of them right, but it's how you are taught. It's how you understand what you taught. So truth itself is controversial because you may see truth one way and I may see it another way, but that don't mean it ain't the truth. So when we go to the truth of the matter about the condition of Black people, that's not hard to explain. The truth of the matter, we were brought over here as slaves. That's the truth. The truth of the matter is our community are flooded with foreigners who suck money out of our community and don't show us no money. That's the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter, Black people hating on each other. Black people killing each other at an alarming rate. That's the truth of the matter. The truth of the matter, our youth is rejecting religion. You ain't getting them in the church. You ain't getting them in the mind. That's the truth of the matter. So if we're talking about repairing Black people, then we have to separate everybody out of this conversation who don't have the desire or the love to do it. And I'm not mad at nobody. I'm not mad, but I'm not going to keep trying to please them because it may offend them when I tell them the cold-blooded, naked truth.
Good deal. Good deal. Jamie, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
You know, I understand what my brother is saying, Raheem. But see, when you get into using absolutes like them and black people doing this, I don't hate my brother. He doesn't hate me, but we're Black. So that was a lie he just told. In reality, we need to be careful with our conversations because when we start using those terms, Black and Black people this and Black people that, that's inclusive. So when we deal with issues like there's some injustice in our communities, even the people that was mentioned as sucking the finance or whatever out of our community, that is a truth. That's a true statement. But at the same time, they aren't sucking anything. We are going and giving and paying it to them. So when we look at how we're conversing and go back to truth, it's going to be the truth. And those things that surround it may be true as well. 4 plus 3 is 7. 2 plus 5 is 7. Anyone that argued any of those will be arguing against the truth. The truth is still going to be the truth, regardless. It's not a matter of how I see it or how you see it. The truth is going to be the truth. And I'm not saying this to my brother himself, but I want to point out some things. In our community, we come from different angles and different perspectives. That's why the Bible makes reference to reasoning together. When it comes down to an individual understanding another, you don't know who you are talking to the person till they open their mouth. And that's why it said, and all that get and get an understanding. I agree, there's a lot of dialogue that we need to have. But to make it about a Black issue, it isn't about Black issue. The problem is if there's justice or injustice. I think when it became an issue for white people to get behind Dr. King and what he was doing, they didn't get behind the Black movement. They got behind a movement that pertains to injustice. When you use the right words and the right terminology, it's going to bring, I say again, the right people together. It's not a matter of when you throw something there, Black, it'll draw some people at the same time. You just tainted what could have been a pure and righteous cause.
Let me say this.
Righteous.
Let me say that I want to make sure that it's understood that when you say the right people, you're not talking about the white people, because you know.
Hold on, Raheem. Mm-hmm. See, people that think like that, those are the ones that we want to educate, because when that would be the person that thinks that Black is the group we're trying to get, and they would equate right to white. When I say right, I said right.
Jamie,
the truth of the matter
let me say
right
this. The truth.
Means right.
Let's talk about the truth of the matter for a second. the truth of the matter is, if you look over the amount of time that we've been here on these soils in the United States of America, we are the one group of people that I guarantee you, and I bet every penny I got on this, no other race of people could be able to endure what we had to endure on these soils. Nobody else has been treated the way that we've been treated on these soils. Nobody else has been disrespected, and all the things from the what they call breaking is the terminology they use when they even went out in the middle of the streets downtown and had one man had sex with a black man in America, talking about they're gonna break him because he was this. No other race of people have had to deal and endure these kind of things. And so in order for us to run a race and be equal on the playing field, we have to start the race side by side. They've already started the race, they've been running the race forever, and they put us back in the backfield. And then after they almost passed the finish line, they say, now you come up here and run, catch me if you can. Jamie, that's not equality, brother.
What you're saying is correct, Raheem. But Dr. King, or he may have quoted someone, but he said, "He who gets behind in the race must forever remain behind or run faster."
When have we ever been equal, though, Jamie? When has it ever been equal for us? Where we didn't have to worry about falling behind. I can't think of a time where it's ever been equal, where the playing field has ever been equal for us, so we didn't have to worry about falling behind or taking the lead. I can't remember that time, brother. Please help me.
Well, Raheem, there's a lot of people right now that, even down to the issues with them being in our communities, that is a matter of empowerment. We have the power if we will act empowered, or we will use it toward power. The dollars that we're spending in the stores for them, or in their stores, we can, if we use it properly, we can replace some of the same things in our communities that we see as these big stores with some initiatives of our own. So,
Jimmy, how many stores do we own in our community? How many stores do we own?
Hold on a second, Roy. When we look at the past and we get stuck looking at the past, it prevents us from looking forward as to what we can or cannot do. When we place that much energy in looking at the past, it should be to learn from it. And when we learn from it, it should inspire us in the present to somehow move towards some futuristic action that's going to change the scenario of what you're saying. I understand.
Jim, it's been 400 years, brother. It's been 400 years, brother. Muhammad, what's on your heart?
That he kept using the word if. We, there's old saying in the street, if was the fifth, we all be drunk. Mm-hmm. Let me say this. When you're talking about equality in the playing field, the great Reverend Dr. Jones, Reverend Jones in Brooklyn, New York, was with the minister one day, and Reverend Jones said, "Brother Farrakhan, I'd like to tell you a story." And the minister loved a good story. He said there was Hannibal, and Hannibal was the fear of the Roman people. But Hannibal, this black man, also was the daunting eye of the Roman women. And when the parents wanted the children to go to sleep, they would say, "Hannibal is coming. Hannibal is coming." They would get under cover and go to sleep. And then Reverend Joe said they caught Hannibal. And they said they filled the arena with all of these Roman white folks. And they buried Hannibal with only his head sticking up out the ground. They shaved all his hair. And they had him buried, and they was hollering, "Let the lion loose. Let the lion loose." And Dr. Jones said they opened up this door. Here come this hungry lion, ain't eaten 2 weeks. And he ran towards Hannibal. And he overstepped Hannibal, and Hannibal bit his nuts off. And then the people said, "Oh," with one voice, and they all hollered, "Fight fair, nigga. Fight fair." And that seemed to be the way we've always been. You tie our hands. You put us in these kind of conditions, and then you tell us. And I told you, brother, by right, black people should be able to park in the handicapped spot because we are handicapped people. And what do the word handicap means? To be at disadvantage. You can't have 85% of the homes and a male figure not in her home, and you put that mother equal with a parent who have both parents. That child equal with a parent that have both parents. You can't do that. That's like putting a one-legged man in a race with a two-legged man. And when the one-legged man loses the race, you charge him for that. No, we are at a disadvantage. And let me say this to my brother. We spend more time trying to justify on this right now about how other people taking what we got to say than to address the real problems. And remember, Brother Raheem put the word black. And as soon as he put the word black, he made it very clear that this was exclusively talking about us. It had nothing to do with anybody else, any other race. It had, and that was my impression. Now, if it wasn't about us, then I'm on the wrong show, because I don't care about dealing with other people's problems. I'm a black man. I live in the black community, and I see our people suffer from ignorance night and day. I'm not sitting on the sideline. I am the captain of the Nation of Islam. And those men that you see with them Final Call newspapers, those men you see with that bow tie, dealing with some of the worst Negroes in the street. How did they get to be those kind, caring brothers that say, hey, my brother, how did they get like that? They didn't come to us like that. It's men like me that train them from being a Negro to being a man. And how did we do that? Did we do that by making excuses? No, we gave them a knowledge of their history. And once you teach a man who he is and what he is, he would rise out of the muck and the mire. But if you don't teach him who he is and what he is, and you give him a false sense, listen to me, a false sense of who he is and what he is, then he can never rise up as a black man to be equal to this white man. So the first thing you got to teach the man who he is. And we can sit here and go through that one. Well, what is he? Who is the black man? Who is he? Where do we come from? What is our origin? What is our language? Now, some people may don't give a damn about that. So what? But I do. And I want my children to know who they are. I want my children to know where they're coming. I want them to know their origin, not the history that white people teach us, that all we have made accomplishments. They love to quote Martin Luther King. They love to quote Martin. And you notice every year Martin's picture gets lighter, lighter, and lighter. Maybe you ain't noticed that. They love to quote Malcolm. They want to make Malcolm a civil rights leader. Malcolm was never a civil rights leader. They give our leaders back to us and praise our leaders when they dead. When they dead, they're no effect. So we have quote Martin Luther King, I had a dream. Really? Really? Malcolm X, by any means necessary. Really? So no, man, we are behind the 8 ball. All my discussion is black people. How do we get out this? I can tell you how we get out this condition. You're absolutely right. People can't take advantage of you unless you let them take advantage of you. So the first matter of business we have to do, once coming out this quarantine, we can't go back to business as usual. God has helped us to even the playing field. How are we going to come out of these quarantines? We got to. They tell us that now coronavirus is killing black people because of our lifestyle. Did you see Van Jones? Did you see this Down Limit with Charles Barkley and P. Diddy Combs? Did y'all see that special? And it was about black people. They did not bite their tongue. They were talking about black people. Yeah. And then you had Charles Barkley. He ain't been black since Lincoln died. And here he talking. And then you got P. Diddy, a musician, a music mogul. How you bring people to know nothing about the condition of black people, about black people? You got to put people in front of black who understand this, who are the scholars in this. And so if we're going to talk about how we're going to come out of it, the first thing they all agree, the way we eat, the foods that's in our community. Go down the neighborhood, go in the hood if you live in the hood, and drive down and count all those McDonald's, White Castles, Popeyes, Kentucky. Keep on going, Taco Bells. They count how many black eateries that we have that give us vegan and good healthy foods. We don't have grocery markets in our community, man. Not in New York. We have these Arab stores. They don't have fresh vegetables because we don't have our own. We don't even have our own black hospital. We don't even have our own black urgent care center. I'm not blaming them. But damn it, if we come out of this condition this time and we go back to that madness, then whatever people do to us, we deserve it. We deserve it. But hell, if this ain't no damn wake-up call, and I'm not going back in my community, man, and watch our people spend money with a Chinese fast food restaurant, and they don't do it, then I'll close it down, so help me God, on everything I love. I'll stand in front of that Chinese restaurant, and I dare any black person to come past me. If you want to get that cat fried rice bad enough to take this ass whooping from Captain Dennis, then bring it on, baby. Bring it on. But this got to stop.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We got, hold on. We got another caller. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, Ryan, it's Elton. How you doing?
Hey, doing good, El. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I mentioned I caught part of the broadcast here, out and about, and heard the gentleman talking, man, and I just kind of want to chime in a little bit if that was possible.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. What's on your heart?
I think when I chimed in, when I started listening, the brother was talking about 5 + 2 versus
yes,
4 + 3 versus 6 + 1. And it was talking about perspective. First, I like the fact that you all keep saying the truth of the matter. Because you got facts and you got truth. You got people in jail because all they have was the facts. But when you know the truth will set you free. Truth gets you out of jail. And when you talk about 5 + 2 and 4 + 3 and 6 + 1, I love that. Because I want to make sure it's emphasized. I'm listening like, well, they're not saying so much, but so different. It's just that one person here is saying 4 + 3, that one's saying 5 + 2. I think we both have an agenda. I think both have an agenda. Here's Jamie on the line too. Good to see you, Jamie. Good to hear from you, Jamie. Is an opportunity to proclamate truth for the purpose of advancement. And I would like to say this, you know, since both sides have used scriptures, both people talking, I don't say sides, both people from the perspective have used scripture. The scripture also says the first should be last and the last should be first. And we know that the black melanated man was the first here on the planet. So it don't matter how we flip it and what we do, it's going to come back because we were first and we got bumped to last, but then now that we're last, we move back to first. And it's happening already. If you pay attention, spiritually, it's happening. It's happening in sports. It's happening in politics. It's happening in so many different areas of life. So many areas of life. And these are the things that we have to pay attention to. I do think, and I do strongly believe, that we do need to educate our people, not on the past struggle, but on the past platform that we had, so they can understand that you came from greatness, that in your lineage is greatness. You don't have to succumb to a society that dictates you that you got to live this way because you live in the projects. You got to live this way because you're a black male in society. You can't put a hoodie. We have to find a way to educate our young black folks and let them know there's a greater in them than they have ever been told about in the public school. Because the people that win history, people in the wars, they're the ones that determine how the history books are written. The people that control and who win the wars, they write the history books. I told you, you go back and look at the statues, the marble statues of Socrates and Plato. We went back and actually looked at it. They're marble, but the paint just faded off, and the paint was actually that of a black man, a melanated person. And so we don't talk about that. Then we have blacks talk about, I don't read the Bible because King James is the white man. No, see, you miseducated again. King James was a young black boy that commissioned the translation of the Bible. And we said we have to be educated because the past has been so skewed and screwed up and misconstrued to us. We have to go back and learn something about who we are so we have a launching pad to go to who we need to be. And I think both sides are saying the same thing, but at the same time, we got to realize that the brother good example. He's just saying 4 + 3, and Jamie's saying 5 + 2. And I might sound like 6 + 1 right now, but I know for a fact both these brothers are African American men, and so am I. And I'm all about my race and the love for my skin color and my melanated people. But I'm also about the human race as well. You know, and so that was open a whole other can of worms. And I'm gonna say this and I'm gonna get off it. Some folks, if you look at that ain't melanated, they aren't of the human race. They're from a different race. That comes to a whole different conversation.
Good deal. Good deal. We said we're gonna be here from 2 to 3, so it's actually 3:08. So we're ready to get out of here. But we definitely need to do this again. We need to come together. Jamie, anything on your heart, brother?
Yeah, I'd just like to say I pray no one sees my brother and I as being against each other, because as I often allude to, there's a forward battle and a real battle.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good to be informed regardless of which side you find yourself on. There's those who are looking ahead as far as making that change. There are those who are dealing with us in the rear, changing us. Either way it goes, we have several fronts that we have to do battle on, and we need to be informed on all of them. So I salute my brother. Please don't get the impression that he and I are at odds or saying anything.
That's right.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mohammed, what's on your heart, brother?
And I totally agree with my brother. Let me tell you something.
Bring your camera down.
Yeah, I totally agree with my brother Jamie. Because I love good conversations. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. Still sharp as steel. I mean, I just don't want to get into a race without somebody who's just as competitive as I am.
Yeah,
it's no race there. It ain't no fun.
Mm-hmm.
What makes these discussions fun is that you discover this other brilliant men than you. And these brilliant men bring what they bring to the table. And this is the beautiful thing I liked about the barbershop. If you're gonna throw your hat in the arena, be able to defend what you believe in and don't become offensive when somebody disagrees. That's all.
Yes,
and
sir.
I love my brother, I love his spirit, and we are one. And to my brother who just called, thank you, dear brother. Most certainly, we are one people. And we're not going to solve our problems, 1 day, 1 hour, 1 year, or maybe a whole century. But, they say a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, it's been a great broadcast, man. It is now 3:10. It's 3:10. It's time for us to get out of here. Muhammad, we need you to pray us out, brother. Can you pray us out?
Oh, I'll be so honored. Please. As a matter of fact, Raheem, we got to get ready for Ramadan.
Yes, sir.
And it starts Thursday. But let me say this prayer. I'm gonna do it in a generic way so we can make sure everybody's included. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much. We believe in you and we trust you in all of our affairs. We thank you for bringing us together, but make us one in your truth. Make us one in your spirit. We beg thee, oh Heavenly Father, that you put your hands in healing of those who are suffering right now from this sick virus. And we thank you, Almighty God, and we ask you to heal the hearts of those who grieve, of those that have lost. Make our every effort in thy name a success. Bless these brothers I had a wonderful talk to. Bless their families, bless their homes, and bless us as a people. We ask this in the name of all of your righteous servants. Amen.
Amen. Amen. We're about to get out. We're about to get out of here for today. I want to thank everybody for joining us. It is now 3:12. You're about to exit around the table, but before you go, I want you to do me 2 favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number 2, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody, and give them a hug because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you, and ain't nothing you could do about it. Have a great day and a better tomorrow. We're gonna get out of here. And let me play my exit music. Exit music is playing, and you all have just the best day.